Okay, this is a very interesting question for the magazine, and is that just like in Picasso's work there is the blue period, then the Cubism, etc., different periods of his life, and his work is divided into those periods. Nowhere know him for this and that period. What about Paco? How his music will be understood? There's a very interesting thing in that light or perception that Paco de Lucia, before he created the trio with John McLaughlin and Andy Meola, before that happened, his participation in Touchstone with great composer Chick Corea, and with McLaughlin, Aldi Meola, initially also in the 70s, they did this trio thing with a great guitar player, Larry Coryell. And, well, all those people that came from the Miles Davis band and all that, who brought about this fusion thing in his record Sketch of Spain. Miles Davis started all this thing about fusion, and even rock fusion and other things where now you listen about Latin jazz, flamenco jazz, and whatnot. And that Miles was the genius behind this thing, this innovative way or path to go for. And all that brought a big change. So Paco de Lucia, before the trio, or before his collaboration with Chick Corea, McLaughlin, and Dinola, with great composers and players, jazz players, before that, it was one period, definitively. We can say before the trio and after the trio. After the trio, things changed a lot. And you can see that in his first record, La Fabulosa Guitarra de Paco de Lucia. His first record, it has a lot of the Sabicas-like style, etc. Right? A lot of stuff that was more, or a lot, very similar to the Sabicas thing. And that Paco felt contracted with those limits, and then he expanded to a much wider and freely way, thanks to these collaborations and to his, of course, his own talent to create a difference and to reinvent the flamenco guitar. Because now what we play nowadays is very different from what was before Paco and from what was even the beginning of Paco's career. And therefore, Almoraima also, the period we could say the initial period in which it was more Sabicas-like, his compositions, Fabulosa Guitarra de Paco de Lucia and other records of that time. I'm talking of the very first album or second. Then it comes this big thing about playing Almoraima and using bass, lute, electric bass, electronic instruments, and that created a revolution. That happened after the trio experience, because that was 1976, Almoraima, and that marks one other era. Then, if we proceed further, we will see that in the 80s, it came the big change. It happened when he recorded Touchstone with Chick Corea, who was a composer of that suite, Touchstone, by the way. You should get that album, it's difficult to find now, but you can try. It's called Touchstone, Paco de Lucia and Chick Corea, and you will see a ceremony, procession of these three aspects of the suite. This marks, again, another era of combining flamenco guitar with contemporary classic Spanish music and jazz. And that brought a complete change. Then Paco inaugurated this effect. You can see this most significant album marks the real change when everything is one summer night, played like in Amsterdam. And that's when it was inaugurated, this concept. So Solo Quiero Caminar and all that came as a consequence of all those changes before. Therefore, you can see that after the trio happens in the 80s, then it changed everything. And now, what we play now is a result of all those combinations there. Like, for example, let me show you one thing. these kind of things didn't happen before, and this of course changed everything, because now you can play falsettas and improvise on them, or you can see I have this wonderful opportunity to be invited to his debut of this year tour in Barcelona, and well, that was amazing. I could see Paco doing one bulería, like for example, he started playing Rio de la Miel, say C minor here with the 8/3, and then it changed to transpose to por medio thing, and then transpose to 4 por medio, to the sharp minor key, and was combining all over different keys, modulating, going through passages for the singer. Amazing stuff happened. And this was, of course, this is the conclusion of all his discography, what he's playing nowadays, and it's a marvelous thing. And in order to understand that, you need to understand all what happened before, of course, because he reinvented the whole thing. That is the point, and therefore, to conclude this, we will say that basically there are 3 things. One was his initial period, which involved was his first record, more Sabicas-like, La Fabulosa Guitarra de Paco de Lucia. Then we go to this Puente Caudal thing with Entre Dos Aguas, Almoraima, and that, and then we come to the final revolution thing, which is when he participated with the trio of John McLaughlin and Enola, and what comes after that, that's the new era, and that's what we are also studying now, right? Because it reinvented even the tradition. Now the tradition is that, so it's always a cycle of events, and this is a marvelous question, because it allows you to, it means you are going deep into this thing, not superficially, and then therefore the fruits you will get from that will be also very much pleasant to get. So thank you for participating on the magazine with these questions. Thank you very much for the question and for your friendship, and I see you next time.